Table 1, I'd usually set mine versus a guy I don't have too much information about. Because I think that if there's a chance that they're a weaker player, they tend to make mistakes when it comes to recognizing the relative value of their hands. So they won't understand that if they have an overpair and I'm raising them, then they're probably beat. Table 4, it's not like an especially good spot to squeeze because the opener doesn't fold a ton of 3-bets and both guys are really tight, but I feel like Ace King, it does well if you're called, and if you're 4-bet in this particular situation, I think that folding would definitely be prudent. I don't think there'd be too much chance of getting bluffed there. Table 3, I think this is a good spot to go for pot control. If we bet the flop and then check the turn, then our opponent's going to play pretty much perfectly versus us. If we check the flop and call, we're representing that we have some sort of pocket pair. He's not going to be able to value bet very thinly because, say he has pocket 9s, he's got to worry about us having a stronger hand. Whereas if we bet the flop and check the turn, I think he's going to be a little bit more inclined to value bet with a hand like pocket 9s or something like that. Table 2, I go for deception by checking. I called a raise with the pocket aces. I think that's okay. When you 3-bet in that particular situation, it looks super, super strong. So, and then I'm not sure if I want to play a huge pot out of position where I'm likely to have the hand that he thinks I have, because he's going to play pretty well. But I've been tending to 3-bet those more, like even in that situation, and then also 3-betting some bluffs like suited broadways. Table 1, I feel like this is a perfect spot to go for a check call on the flop, because he's frequently going to put me on a queen and check the turn, and then I can bet the river and win, even if I don't improve. And then if he does, we don't have like a nut draw or anything, so we don't want to build a huge pot. When he does call the turn, I think that would have been a good opportunity to bet the river, but I think at the point I recorded this video, I wasn't too experienced with this strategy. But basically when someone checks the flop and calls the turn, then it's very unlikely for them to have like a strong hand, and you can get a lot of folds when you bet the river. Table 2, I like going for a delayed c-bet in spots like this. Just kind of like preventing him from bluffing, I guess, because it's unlikely he'd fold a better hand, but it's unlikely for him to have a better hand when he checks the flop. Table 1, I bet flop, check turn, because the stack size is really good for him check shoving the turn. So I wanted to realize my straight draw. Table 1, pretty standard open. Table 3, standard. Call a 3-bet with that hand. Table 1, I like going for pot control there. Calling a bet on the turn if he bets. But when he checks, I think we can go for value. And then when the 4th of the suit comes out, then I think we can just give up because it's unlikely for him to call the turn with a hand that either needs to bluff or doesn't have a club in it. So if he does call the turn, it's going to be with like a made hand or a draw, and he's not going to bet his made hands in the river just as a bluff. Table 4, I like going for the passive line there. I guess I called a raise out of the blinds. I don't see much point in doing anything except check calling down. Table 2, go for the cold 4-bet. I try to make it a size that it could be a bluff, but it's really difficult. I'd have to make it like 14, and then you'd have odds to set mine. So I'm not really sure if I if I really wanted to do that, so I just make it a little bit bigger.